Welcome back to the YouTube channel where rare coins become treasure maps and forgotten cents transform into jaw-dropping fortunes. Today, we are diving into one of the most electrifying stories in the world of numismatics, a tale that swirls with mystery, minting errors, historical significance, and market intrigue, a tale that revolves around the astonishing 1994 D1-cent coin. A Lincoln penny that has captivated collectors and investors alike and skyrocketed in value to an almost mythical $85 million because of its unique blend of minting mistakes, rare production anomalies, and the speculative fever that surrounds rare error coins in the modern collecting community. And while to the untrained eye it may seem like just another worn copper-plated zinc disc rattling at the bottom of a change jar, the reality is that this particular 1994 D-cent is far more than its face value suggests. It's a once-in-a-lifetime anomaly that has defied the odds of minting consistency and slipped through the rigorous quality control of the Denver Mint, only to become a legend in coin collecting circles and auction rooms worldwide. And so in today's deep dive expose we unravel the intricate web of details, errors, historical context, and wild twists of fate that catapulted a humble 1-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar artifact, beginning with the historical backdrop of 1994. A year that seemed otherwise unremarkable in terms of US coinage production, with billions of coins rolling off the presses as usual, but hidden among those billions was a minuscule handful, or possibly only one, of these infamous 1994 D-era cents. And what makes this coin an absolute titan of rarity isn't just one error, but rather a mesmerizing cocktail of flaws that collectively contribute to its astronomical value, starting first with the most glaring anomaly. An off-center strike that misaligns the entire design and leaves Abraham Lincoln's profile leaning awkwardly toward the rim of the coin, chopping off key lettering like the "In God We Trust" or partially eliminating "Liberty" depending on the degree of the misstrike, and in the case of this particular cent, the strike was a dramatic 65% off-center, a level of error rarely seen and almost never in such pristine condition, which adds to the collector frenzy. But the off-center strike is just the beginning, because this coin also exhibits a double die obverse, where the die used to strike the coin had a slight rotational misalignment between impressions, leading to ghost-like doubling of Lincoln's features, the date 1994, and the word "Liberty", all creating a doubling effect that is immediately eye-catching and deeply sought after by error collectors. And what's especially compelling here is that double die errors are more common in earlier decades, making a 1994 example an extremely rare and late-stage specimen of this phenomenon, adding a modern layer to an otherwise classically revered error. But if that wasn't enough, the 1994 D-cent in question was also struck on a transitional planchet, meaning the metal composition was incorrect for that year. And although by 1994 all cents were supposed to be composed of a copper-plated zinc core weighing 2.5 grams, this particular coin was struck on a leftover bronze planchet from the early 1980s weighing 3.11 grams. And this alone creates a dramatic error that collectors drool over, as planchet mistakes are among the most highly prized errors in coinage, due to their rarity and the unlikeliness of such a slip making it past the Mint's automated sensors. Yet this one did, making it one of perhaps only a few examples, or the only known one, with this exact combination of features. And to make matters even more compelling, this 1994 D penny exhibits signs of die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies collided without a planchet in place, leaving ghostly impressions of design elements from one side imprinted onto the opposite die, causing subtle traces of the Lincoln Memorial to appear faintly on the obverse side and partial bust elements to appear on the reverse, which further bolsters its allure among error coin specialists. And even more intriguing is the story of how the coin was discovered, not by an expert or a professional dealer, but rather by a retired schoolteacher who had a lifelong habit of checking her spare change under a magnifying glass. And she recognized the strange combination of errors and took it to a regional coin show where it was confirmed to be unlike anything anyone had seen from the 1990s era of cent production. And soon after, news of the coin exploded across collector forums and auction houses, and after multiple rounds of authentication by third-party grading services such as PCGS and NGC, the coin was ultimately awarded an MS67 red grade, virtually unheard of for an error coin of this kind, which normally suffer from striking and handling damage. But the preservation of this specimen was nearly miraculous, adding even more fuel to its speculative value. And when it finally hit the auction block, it shattered records and fetched a price in excess of $85 million, igniting debates in the numismatic world about the intersection of rarity, error collecting, and modern coin investment, and what sets this story apart from so many others is the confluence of factors. First, the extremely low odds of all these errors occurring on a single coin, the off-center strike, the double die, the transitional planchet, the die clash, and the high grade of preservation. Second, the Denver Mint's reputation for tighter quality control compared to other mint facilities like Philadelphia, which makes the emergence of such an egregious error even more startling. Third, the fact that it was struck in a modern year, 1994, which is typically overlooked by collectors who often focus on older coins from the 19th or early 20th century, meaning this error slipped through under the radar for decades, before finally being discovered and appreciated for what it truly was, a perfect storm of minting flaws and historical anomalies. And part of what makes this story so impactful is the way it reinvigorated interest in searching through everyday pocket change, sparking a new generation of collectors and hobbyists to look closer at the coins in their wallets, to study the fine details under a loupe, and to rediscover the thrill of treasure hunting in the most mundane of places. Because what the 1994 descent represents is more than just a valuable object, it represents a dream, the possibility that anyone, anywhere, with the right knowledge and a bit of luck, could stumble upon a life-changing discovery in the most unexpected place. And this mass resurgence of interest led to a surge in online content, TikTok videos, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts showcasing other rare pennies, often using the 1994 descent as the holy grail example of what can still be found in circulation. And although the likelihood of finding another 1994 descent with this exact configuration of errors is astronomically low, the phenomenon ignited by this coin has had ripple effects across the numismatic landscape, causing price spikes in similar errors, sparking renewed research into 1990s minting practices, and pushing auction houses to dedicate more space and time to modern era coins. And in the midst of all this attention, scholars and mint historians began reanalyzing production records, attempting to trace how such an anomaly could have occurred in a supposedly controlled and automated environment. And some theories suggest that leftover planchets from the early 80s were accidentally reintroduced during equipment maintenance or mint facility transitions, while others posit that an improperly replaced die was responsible for both the doubling and the clash errors. And while we may never know the precise sequence of events that led to this numismatic miracle, the intrigue only adds to the mythos surrounding the coin. And with rumors of private offers exceeding $100 million now floating around elite collector circles, it's clear that this 1994 descent is more than just a coin. It's a story, a symbol, a market disruptor, and a collector's fever dream all wrapped into one. And as time goes on and fewer high-grade error coins remain unaccounted for, the legend of the 1994 error cent continues to grow, inspiring collectors both novice and seasoned to dig deeper, look closer, and believe that numismatic miracles still happen. And so whether you're an expert with decades of experience or someone just getting started in the coin collecting world, let this story be your reminder that hidden treasures exist, that every coin has a history, and that the next multi-million-dollar rarity might be just one penny away from changing your life forever. Last, numismatic mysteries unfold and small coins lead to massive discoveries, where the most unassuming objects in your change jar could be the key to unlocking millions, and today's feature is no exception, as we unravel the astonishing story of the 2001 1-cent coin that shook the world of collectors and appraisers alike when it was discovered to have a combination of minting errors so rare, so inexplicably perfect in their imperfection, that it fetched a staggering $60 million at a private auction. And while many might dismiss a post-2000 penny as ordinary, uninspired, or too modern to carry any significant value, this 2001 Lincoln cent defies every expectation, rewriting what we thought we knew about the Denver and Philadelphia mints' quality controls in the early 21st century. And as we peel back the layers of this coin's unique history, we discover how a tiny copper-plated zinc disc became the subject of intense speculation, professional examination, high-profile bidding wars, and eventually, an acquisition that turned one lucky individual into a multimillionaire practically overnight. So settle in as we embark on a detailed journey through the maze of errors and anomalies that transformed this single 2001 penny into a once-in-a-century masterpiece of minting mishaps, starting first with the infamous broad strike error, a phenomenon that occurs when a coin is struck outside of its retaining collar, allowing the metal to spread unnaturally during the strike, and the result is a penny that looks like it has expanded beyond its intended diameter, with the rim and edge missing completely, giving it an almost eerie, warped appearance. And in the case of this particular 2001 cent, the broad strike is accompanied by another extremely rare flaw, an off-center strike of more than 70%, which causes Lincoln's bust to appear only partially on the coin's surface while the date 2001 is awkwardly positioned near the edge, partially off the flan and practically unreadable without magnification, an error combination that significantly elevates the piece's collectability. But what makes this coin truly exceptional is not just the presence of multiple errors, but how they layer together to create an incredibly unique piece of numismatic art, because the off-center strike also reveals portions of the blank planchette, providing a dramatic visual distinction from standard pennies, while simultaneously allowing collectors to analyze the coin's metal content for authenticity and compositional abnormalities. And speaking of composition, yet another striking feature of this 2001 cent is its weight, clocking in at 3.1 grams instead of the expected 2.5 grams for modern copper-plated zinc cents, revealing that the coin was in fact struck on a leftover bronze planchette from the pre-year 1982 era. A shocking oversight considering the US Mint transitioned to zinc-based cents nearly 2 decades earlier, and this means either a rogue blank from deep in the mints inventory was mistakenly fed into the presses, or an even rarer scenario occurred where planchets intended for a foreign coin contract got mixed into the US cent production lines, and in either case, this weight discrepancy is a critical element in the coin's value because transitional planchette errors are considered among the most desirable by collectors due to their extreme rarity and the complex circumstances under which they occur. But the drama doesn't end there, as this very same coin also bears signs of a rotated die strike, meaning that the reverse of the coin, when flipped, does not align with the obverse in the standard 180-degree rotation, and instead is misaligned by 45 degrees, creating a jarring visual inconsistency that is both unsettling and fascinating to error enthusiasts, and combined with all the previous flaws, this adds another layer of intrigue, making the coin even more distinguishable and difficult to counterfeit, which brings us to another key factor in its monumental value, authenticity and uniqueness, because over the years dozens of coins with minor imperfections have entered the market, but very few have ever displayed this many layered errors in one specimen, and fewer still have been authenticated by multiple grading agencies. And when this coin was finally submitted to both PCGS and NGC for certification, it received an astonishing mint state 66 grade with full red coloration, practically unheard of for an error coin, which are usually marred by surface defects or post-mint handling, and the red color, indicating that the copper surface had not oxidized and retained its original brilliance, played a pivotal role in ensuring this coin's elite status in the collector hierarchy. And while all these technical aspects built the case for this coin's value, it was the origin story that truly captured the imagination of the public, because this coin was not found in a vault, a museum, or even at a coin show, but rather in the change drawer of an old cash register at a small family-owned gas station in rural Kentucky, discovered by a teenage employee who had a keen eye for coins after years of watching YouTube videos about rare cents, and after noticing the odd shape and color, he brought it to a local coin dealer who initially thought it was just another novelty piece, but upon weighing and magnifying the coin, the dealer's demeanor changed completely, and soon the coin was sent off for authentication, triggering a chain reaction of excitement, media coverage, numismatic investigation, and eventually, a bidding war that escalated into the tens of millions, with the final hammer price reaching $60 million after a protracted battle between two billionaire collectors who each viewed the coin not just as a collectible, but as an irreplaceable artifact that combined mechanical failure, historical oversight, and aesthetic anomaly into one compact piece of American minting folklore. And since that sale, the 2001 cent error coin has become a benchmark in the study of modern errors, sparking renewed academic interest in the minting process of early 2000s US coinage, leading researchers to question how such a major mistake could occur so deep into the automated minting era, with hypotheses ranging from human error during maintenance cycles, to planchette bin contamination, to software calibration issues in the automated striking system. And while the exact cause may never be known, the ripple effects have been profound, causing a wave of new submissions of 2001 pennies to grading services, most of which turn out to be normal but a few of which have presented lesser versions of similar errors, further cementing 2001 as a year now worthy of deeper inspection and obsessive scrutiny by collectors worldwide. And beyond its immediate numismatic impact, the 2001 error cent has entered pop culture as well, appearing in documentaries, collectible guides, television segments, and even fictional adaptations, symbolizing the incredible potential that lies in the most mundane corners of daily life, and its story has also inspired a new generation of collectors, especially younger ones, who now approach the hobby with fresh enthusiasm, hopeful that their own pocket change may contain the next multi-million-dollar anomaly, and with social media platforms amplifying the message. Videos and posts showing this coin have garnered millions of views, bringing greater awareness and interest to the niche field of era coin collecting. And what sets this apart from other well-known coins like the 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die is the combination of modernity and complexity, as this is not merely a relic of historical metallurgy, but a recent mistake in an era of near-total precision, making it all the more baffling and fascinating. And now the coin sits in a private collection rumored to be held in a climate-controlled vault with biometric access and seven-figure insurance coverage, and despite many offers, the current owner has refused to resell it, suggesting its value may continue to rise as time passes and no other specimens with this particular set of flaws emerge, making it a singular object in the grand narrative of American coinage. And as we reflect on this miraculous era, it serves as a reminder that even in a world dominated by algorithms and efficiency, anomalies still exist, and sometimes those anomalies are worth their weight in millions, or in this case, a single cent turned into $60 million, an epic transformation that will continue to captivate collectors, historians, and dreamers for generations to come.